Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Let's get crafting. This project has a really simple printable that I have created for all of you. It's linked down below in my description box if you want to get it. It's just the letters EAT, and that way we can make a really cute farmhouse sign that says eat for our kitchen. Now for this printable, what you're going to need to do is just cut out your letters. If you need to use an X-Acto knife on some of those trickier areas, go ahead and get that out. The only real place I noticed that I needed it was on the inside of the letter A, but other than that I was able to just use my traditional scissors and cut everything out really easily without any issues at all. Once you have everything all cut out, you're going to have it look just like this. And then we're going to need a piece of foam core board. Now you can see that this foam core board was already pre-cut, and what I did was I just took my printable and laid them all out so I got the width of the letters that I would need with a little bit of that spacing around it. So really the width of the board is about 8.5 inches, just like a traditional paper printer size piece. And then once I had that cut out and the length that I wanted for my letters, I'm going to go with a small fine tip brush, and I'm using a concrete color. I think it's actually called oatmeal. I could be wrong, but I'm using a really light grayish color to create long lines because we're going to make this look like shiplap. And if you notice that your foam core piece is kind of buckling a little, I always just flip it over and kind of, you know, stretch it some so that it's laying nice and flat. And then I went in with the dry brush technique with that lighter gray color with a little bit of brown mixed into it, and I dry brushed over it. At that point, once I got my foam core looking like shiplap and a little bit distressed, not too crazy, I don't like too much distressing, but I like a little, then I went and took some Mod Podge and I glued down my letters. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to these thicker popsicle sticks, these tongue depressor sticks, and we're going to cut off the rounded parts just like you saw me do there. And we are going to lay them all out on a piece of paper. And now I'm going to go over it with my little stain mixture that you all see me do here all the time on my channel. I just use water, black paint, and brown paint, and then I go over it until I get that look that I want. And it's a lot friendlier to use than using a traditional stain because the stain can kind of stain your fingertips, and I don't want to always get out gloves, so I like using this water paint mixture because it cleans off my hands really easy. Then what we're going to do is take those popsicle sticks and we are just going to work our way all the way around our sign. So you can see here that it's creating a really cute frame on this really cute eat sign that you can put in your kitchen. When you get to the top, you're going to notice that the length of the sticks is going to have a little bit of a hangover. So you're going to take a pencil, create a cut line on one of the sticks and cut it down to the size that you need. And then just go up the other side of your sign as well. When you get to the top, do the same thing, cut it down to size that you need, and then glue that on. When you get to the top of the sign, you're going to also notice that it's going to be a little bit too big. So I centered 2 in the middle as you see here, and then I'm cutting them down so that it's a nice equal measurement at the top and the bottom. I just like the way that that looked so much more versus trying to have one long one and one short piece in there, and it kind of looked a little more off center. So just take your time with this, put it however you would like to, but once you get it all done and all the sticks are on, I'm going to just take some light gray and gently dry brush on over my letters so that the letters looked a little bit distressed. You don't have to do this part, but I felt like with the shiplap behind it, it kind of caused it to look almost too stark with the black letters. And then I went around the edges with some like a medium to brownish gray, basically matching the stain that I wanted on my sticks. So that way I can cover up that foam core in the back, so when you look at the side angle, you don't see that white foam core around the board. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Now, if you're new, welcome. And if you didn't know, I have 2 new channels. I've been talking and announcing them here for a while. I have 2 videos that went up this week for my 2 new channels. This one was from my Heidi Sonboul Health. I'm putting it all out there, friends, to get myself motivated. And then over on my Heidi Sonboul paper crafting channel, I'm doing a giveaway. I will link all of these videos at the end of this video and down below my description box, so you can come on over and say hi on those channels. The supplies we're going to be using today are a few things that I've picked over this last couple months. Remember, don't rush out to go buy these. Stay home, stay safe. But if you have these on hand or you want to save them for later, you can always do this project later. But I'm using these wire baskets, rope, and these hang-up chains that you can get right now at the Dollar Tree. All of these came from there. Total cost to make this was about $10.25 because I'm going to use something little at the end, you'll see. But what you're going to do first is you're going to take your chains, you're going to pull open the pack, and you're going to count out the desired length that you want. Now I counted out 12 of these little jump ring chains, and then the extra I'm just going to put to the side because I'm not going to need that for this project. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your 3 chains and you're going to hook them onto these little wire baskets that you can get over in their like bin area. They're like little trash bins or little fruit baskets, I guess. And then I'm going to now take some rope. I'm going into the very center hole. I put some hot glue, and then I'm going to just start taking my rope and wrapping it around. Surprisingly enough, this really sticks to the basket because the hot glue kind of falls around that metal mesh on the basket. And then the hot glue also binds to that onto the rope. So it's really secure on there. And when you take your time to coil on the rope right, it will look really high end and just really pretty when you're all done with the finished look. So on each basket, I used about 3 of these bundles of rope. I needed just a little bit, like it's not even one of the full ropes, so I will say 3 1/4 of the ropes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start at the bottom first because that's where you can get that cleanest look, and you don't want to start where the top of the chains are because you want to make sure that the rope ends up on that side. I'm going to show you why in a few minutes, but start at the bottom and then start just slowly coiling out. This was a really fun therapeutic project to do. I really enjoyed doing this, and you're going to do 2 of the baskets. I guess you could make as many of them as you want, but I'm going to do 2 for today. And then once you get around to the edge, you're going to just slowly start working your way up the side. When you get to a point where the rope ends, you're going to just glue that down into place and then get the next rope and glue that right up butted next to it. And I left on the little tape because I didn't want that to come unraveled, which it can after time. So, and you don't even notice it. I didn't even notice the little bit of tape that's on there. So once you've gone all the way around and you've gotten up to the top, this is where you want to make sure why you're doing the bottom to top first. You're gonna, at the very top where you see that little hook that you hooked onto your basket, you're going to take your rope and you're going to go through the actual hook so that the hook is sitting in there nicely. You make sure not to hot glue down the chain. You want to make sure that's free. And then once you've got it through, you're going to add some more hot glue that all down into place, and this is going to allow it to look store-bought and really high quality versus it just being like you're hot gluing rope onto a basket. And then you're going to just continue along that edge, following over to the next one, and then repeat the same process. You're going to go through with the rope, you're going to thread it through that hook that's hooked onto the basket, and it's going to look really, really great. So make sure you do this to all 3 of the hooks, and then once you get to the end of that, you're going to then go on the other side, which I'm going to show you as well so that you don't miss any of these steps. This really was a fun project, and it did not take me that long to do, so I think anyone could do this that has a hot glue gun and these supplies. But again, I just want to stress to you all, do not feel the need to go out and purchase these things right now. You can always save this, and these are items that they have year round. The chains aren't, the chains they brought them out for their spring gardening section, but the rope and the baskets, they have them out all the time. So once you've gotten all the way around, you're then going to make sure your hooks that are on the basket are out of the way. You're going to make sure they're in the right position, and then you're going to take some glue and you're going to hot glue the rope down around on the inside of the basket, now where that's going to keep that chain locked into place. And you're going to just do that all the way around the rest of the inside of the basket, and to finish off the look. This is where I was saying that there might be just a little bit more rope that you might need to go around 1 or 2 more times on the inside of the basket to get it to go down further in the basket. so that way it has a nice completed look. But overall, 3 bundles of the ropes work really well for these baskets. I just wanted to make sure mine went down inside the basket a little bit as well. Once you've got all those ropes glued on, you're then going to take that chain that you had and you're going to connect it to a second basket. So you can see here where I stopped my rope so that I can chain on those little jump rings. So I went ahead and opened it up, the very last one. I opened it up, put it on, and then pinched it onto the basket. This is going to allow it to look super high quality. So you can see here, make sure when you're putting your chains on that it's hanging evenly, that you have it balanced, that you have the chains balanced in the right spots. So here you can see that I have the chain and we've gone all the way up to the rim of the basket. Now I'm going to take that glue where the chain met up, where that jump ring hooked onto the basket. I'm going to add some hot glue and go over the top part of the chain, so you can see right there. And then once I've done that 3 times all the way around, I'm now going to bring the rope around on the back side of that jump ring that we attached to the basket. So all you're going to see is just that little black hook at the top through the rope. You're not going to see anything else, and it's going to look so nice like this. So make sure you just take your time going around the top, putting your hot glue, and don't burn your fingers. This is one of those projects where you can burn your fingers. I was taking my time, so I didn't burn my fingers on it. Now here's the next thing. You can use this part of the hooks or the chain that you had from earlier, but I wanted my basket to be much longer, so I'm actually using a second set of this chain hang up basket thing, and I'm going to just hook those right on, and you're going to be able to have a double hang up basket. Now you can make as many of these baskets as you'd like. This chain is a really strong chain and it just looks so cute hanging up. I love this thing so much. And then this is that last part that I said that was like 25 cents. I took some of these little garden sticks that you can put in your flower beds or when you're growing plants, and I'm just going to pop off those back sticks because I actually wanted to paint on some little prices for the baskets. I thought this made this look even more farmhouse chic, and I thought, why not? It's just a fun little cute touch to it. So I'm just going to hand paint on some numbers that I'm putting 25 cents, and then I'm also going to put $1, and then I'm going to glue these onto the basket to complete the look. And when you're doing this, just make sure you take your time. You could sketch on with a pencil first to make sure the look is, you know, symmetrical in the center, however you want it to look. But I'm just doing it freehand with paint. And I'm using a small tip brush. Then once you're all done and those are dried, you're going to take some hot glue on your basket. Make sure you find that center point and glue them on, and then decorate the inside of them. I hope that you're enjoying this video so far. There's 8 more projects to go. If you're new, I would love for you to click the subscribe button and stick around. Don't forget, I'm doing a giveaway for all of my subscribers within this video. I'm going to link it at the end as well so you can find it really easy. This month, I am doing a Dremel toolkit giveaway throughout this month of February. And then on February 26th, I will be announcing the winner of this toolkit. Now remember, here on my channel, Heidi Sonboul DIY, I post on Tuesdays for my 10 on Tuesdays and on Fridays for a whole bunch of different things like Friend Fridays and a new series that's coming on my channel. And here is my schedule for all of my other channels. If you're interested, I will have all of my channels linked down below in my description box. Our next DIY is going to be using this sign from the Dollar Tree. Now sometimes when you crack these open, I wanted to actually show you all, sometimes they have factory issues where they weren't put together properly. So to fix that issue, I'm just adding some hot glue and I'm just going to put that right back in the corner. And you can see that one of these little triangle support frame pieces is missing, which is fine. It's not the end of the world if that happens, but just add some hot glue and make sure it's nice and secure before you move on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of their plastic cutlery that they have at the Dollar Tree, and I spray painted the fork, spoon, and knife and the sign all black. And then to add in some texture and that really pretty farmhouse look, I took a piece of burlap and I cut it down to the size that I wanted. You don't want it to go all the way up to the edge of your sign. You want to have a little bit of hangover. And I just hot glued it down and then pulled off any of those extra fibers to expose more of that texture on the sides of the burlap. Then I'm going to take my spoon, fork, and knife and I'm going to hot glue those down onto my sign just like I'm doing here. And I'm just positioning them first before I commit to the hot glue, because once they go down, it's hard to get them back up. So just make sure you have the positioning right, and then add a lot of hot glue so it doesn't come off and it's nice and secure on there. I started with my knife first to make sure, once again, that's centered and it looks right. If you start with your spoon or your fork, you could have an issue where they're not centered the way you want them to be, and then you'll feel frustrated every time you look at it in your kitchen. So start with the knife, and then I did the spoon next and then the fork. And at that point, I thought it would be really cute. You could leave it like that, or we could take it a little further. I took one of these sticks from the Dollar Tree, these tongue depressor sticks, and I'm cutting out a little dovetail detail on the side. I thought this would be so cute to add this in, and it just adds a little personality, and it makes it look like a little plaque that was almost put on the front of it. And you could paint whatever you want on the front. You could put your family's name, you could put your name and your kitchen. So for me, it would be like Heidi's Kitchen. You could just do so many cute things with this, and this would be the cutest gift to give someone for like Mother's Day that's coming up. So once you've got your sign all painted, go ahead and add some hot glue, and then you saw there on the ends I was adding a little bit of support glue to make sure it really stays on there. Now this is the point where you could use vinyl, or you can hand paint on letters. Like I said, you can put whatever you want, Heidi's Kitchen, or your name, obviously. Why would you put Heidi's Kitchen in your kitchen? That would just be silly. And then I decided to go with homemade. I roughed it up just a little bit and then went back in and touched up any spots that maybe I took off too much paint, because I wanted it to look, you know, that chippy look, but not too much, because again, like I said, that's just my style. So have fun with it and customize it the way you want. Our next DIY is something that I've kind of featured here before. I have taken these hanging wired baskets for your outside garden area, and these are from the Dollar Tree. And I've shown me making bird cages out of them and little fruit baskets. And today, going along with that kitchen theme, we're going to be making a potato basket, because why not? Why not make even our potatoes look pretty in our kitchen? So what I'm doing is I'm cutting away that inner circle with my wire cutters, and I'm just going back and forth, and they snap pretty easily. I would say like the first 6 are really easy to cut, and then towards the end your hand is going to start feeling a little sore, so maybe take a break in between if your hand starts to hurt. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take, we're only going to be cutting one apart, as you can see me doing here. The other one we're going to leave it alone, but we're going to be taking those wires and we're going to start bending them back. And no matter how many times you try, you're going to see that wire pop right there, just because it's kind of a sensitive area. So I'll show you in just a second how to fix that. But we're going to go ahead and straighten out those wires so that they're nice and long. And this is the cutest basket when we're done. You don't have to only put potatoes in it. You can put whatever you want in it realistically. But I just thought, oh, how cute could it be to put this inside of my pantry with potatoes in it in a corner so that they stay nice and dark and safe, and they're out of that funky bag that, you know, drops stuff anyways. So I just thought this would be so cute. So here I am, I'm just straightening out the last of them, and then to fix that problem, you're just going to take a piece of twine and you're going to add a little bit of hot glue right on the tip of it. And surprisingly, this holds really well. And then you're going to take the twine once the hot glue sets, and you're just going to wrap it around there. And The reason why this is going to end up being okay is because later on you'll see you're going to add on some thicker rope onto the edge, and we're also going to be putting chicken wire all over this basket. So just wrap it around, glue it into place, and then forget about it temporarily because we don't need to worry about that at this moment, and just let it really dry really well. So you can see here that I'm just adding a nice amount of twine to make it nice and strong, and I'm just going to glue that right into place. So once you've got that all glued into place, snip off any extra that you don't need, and then we're going to start assembling the two pieces together. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get your pliers, and you're just right at the top, you're going to curve it down to create a little hook, and you're going to go all the way around the whole basket piece, all of these wires that we straightened out, and we're going to just curve them all down just like I'm doing here. And this is because we're going to be hooking it onto the one over there to the left. That way it creates a nice tall basket, because at this point you really can't put potatoes in that smaller basket with the height that it is. And so here I am, I'm just curving it all down, and then I'm going to take it, and you can see the hooks, I'm going to take it and just hook it onto that other basket. The coolest thing about this is that these potato baskets are so crazy expensive, and once you put the chicken wire on it with the rope, it's really sturdy and strong and can hold all of the potatoes that you put inside of it. And we're only making it for, let's say, $4 because we put the chicken wire on it. So $2 for each basket, $1 for the rope, and then $1 for chicken wire. I mean, it's crazy how much they charge for these baskets, and when you figure out, wow, it's like nothing that they're using for materials. So here I am. I lost the footage of me putting the chicken wire on the two stacks, but this is one that I had done a couple weeks ago. And now here's the basket with all the chicken wire on it. You can see that I went all up the sides, and it's really easy. Just be safe when you're putting it on and make sure you take your time. And if you have any spots that are concerned, you can always add a little bit of hot glue if you had a hard time getting the wire down, and that seals it in. And then you're going to take it outside and you're going to spray paint it whatever color you want. I went with black. I think that it looks really pretty and very country farmhouse looking at this point. And now I'm going to take that rope that we talked about and just finish off the top look. And you're going to glue it into place and just keep wrapping it around until it's all done. And then to make it even cuter, I'm going to take some of the thicker rope and I'm going to just add some handles by looping it through and gluing over that edge, and then taking one piece of the rope. I split it up from the Dollar Tree. There's 3 on one of the ropes, so I just split it up, and then I'm wrapping that around to give it a nice finished look on the handle, so that way when you pick it up it's nice and sturdy, and this basket is really strong. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this DIY that I'm going to be sharing with you. It's something that I saw a long time ago that was being sold for a ton of money, and I thought I could totally make that super cost friendly. So I picked up these spoons from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using 5 of them. And what we're going to need to do is we are going to hammer out the spoon so it's flat, just like I'm doing here. And once you've got it nice and flat, you're then going to take some pliers and you're going to bend it 2 times. You're going to bend it a little bit down on the handle, and then you're going to go out just a little bit and bend it 1 more time. And you can use whatever you need to be able to get these bends. I found that the further you go down on the spoon's handle, the harder it gets to bend it. So if you need maybe some, you know, strong muscles, maybe, you know, call upon someone in the home that is able to do this part. But this is such a fun project, and just wait until you see what this is going to turn into. So here I am, I'm just taking my spoon and I'm just bending it out and making sure I shape it, and then I lined it up with the next one to make sure that the bends are all in the right place. Now this next part is one that I'm going to warn you all to be careful with. When you are drilling in, you're going to want to make sure you're drilling into that some kind of wood underneath it as a base. And then the other thing is you want to be careful with when you're drilling it, because the spoon might want to spin, and if your hand is in the way and it gets hit, it could cut your hand. It also could really hurt. I actually had it happen twice while I was doing this, and I'll tell you, it actually really hurt. So once you've got enough of those holes drilled, you're just going to do one in each spoon and then set them to the side. I learned with that first hole that I drilled, and then after that I was really cautious. So I'm just telling you all, it's really easy to do with a drill, but just make sure you don't hurt your hand by keeping it out of the way. Now we're going to move on to that wood, and I just lightly sanded it down to make sure there was no rough edges first, and then I went in with some water, black paint, and brown paint to create a stain really quickly. And then I'm now going to take some screws and screw all of my spoons into the wood, because we are making a hanging rack. And you can use this for so many different things, but today I have a theme that I'm doing, which is going to be kitchen DIYs using Dollar Tree supplies. I thought it would be really fun to do something a little different and focus on the kitchen and things that we can put in our homes in the kitchen to be able to use daily. So once you've got all your spoons on there, just make sure you push them in place, position them right, and then you're going to take it and flip it over. Now I needed something to hang them up with, and then I had this thought, wait a second, I can use one of the little handles that you use to open up a soda can, a washer, and a screw. I don't know why I got so excited about this, but I just, like, for some reason it popped into my head and it worked out like a charm. It was so perfect. So you're going to want to put something underneath it to make sure it's propped up, or you could also put this on before you do the spoons, and then you're just going to screw it into place, and it makes the perfect thing to be able to help hang it up. Now we're going to make it even cuter, because I just can't help myself. We could stop here or we could keep going. And you know me, I love to keep going here on my channel. So I'm going to take these little garden tags. You've been seeing me use these a lot here on my channel recently. I'm going to add some wood glue so it really bonds well. And then I'm also going to add some hot glue for that long-term, short-term hold. Like I talk about a lot here, you want to make sure it goes on forever, but it also can dry quickly with that hot glue. So I'm going to put one in front of each spoon. I just think that this is so cute with these little tags. And then again, couldn't help myself. I could have stopped there, but I decided to also paint numbers on each tag. So I decided to go with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But how cute could this be if you were to put an initial for someone's name, if they wanted to hang up, you know, their coat by the front door? Or you could put it in your kitchen, like I'm planning on using, to hang up all of our towels and cloths to let them dry when we're using them while we're doing dishes or just cleaning in general. And it just looks so pretty. You could also hang wreaths on this. You could do so many cool things. So here it is. Are you ready to see it? If you didn't know, I'm over on Instagram, and each week I host this really fun thing called the Dollar Tree DIY Tour, where you can come and share your Dollar Tree DIYs in a less intimidating way, where you just post using a write-up so that you can be grouped in with all these other Dollar Tree crafters, and then you can go and see what everybody has been up to. If you're interested in joining that tour, come on by over on Instagram, send me a message, and we will get you added into the chat groups where you will be able to connect with other Dollar Tree crafters and be able to join the tour. It's so much fun. I know you're going to love it. Come on by if you're a crafter and say hi. Our next DIY is going to be using these 2 shower rings and these burner covers. There are 2 in a pack, a larger and a smaller one. And when I saw this, I thought I could turn this into a lazy Susan. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our shower rings and we're going to mark them so that they're the same on both and cut them. So these are going to become the handles, and we're going to use some E6000 to put them on so they have that long-term bond. But don't put them on yet, because we're going to flip it over and we're going to have that smaller tray that you would use on your oven, and we're going to center it as much as we can, and then take some dowels from the craft section at the Dollar Tree, cut them down, and then put them down with some hot glue and some E6000. Make sure you don't go into the area where the pan's going to be, but make sure you get the sizing right. And then you're going to double them up. So don't just do one. I stacked another one on top so it's a little bit higher, where it's concealed underneath the pan. It's the perfect size, but it'll also keep that lid staying right in its place. So now we're going to take that shower curtain hook that we had earlier, and we're just going to put that right down on there and make it stay for that long-term hold. You can add a little bit of hot glue. I decided not to. I just went with the E6000 because it dried pretty quick when you set a fan on it. And then once it was totally dried, I spray painted the 2 different lids black. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking some foam core board and I'm going around in the perfect size circle to fit into the smaller one. Now I know that these are super popular and you guys have all seen these with these cake pans, but the thing about the cake pans is that they look like cake pans. So when you put these marbles in and you line this tray right up on top, it looks exactly like a super expensive Lazy Susan. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you are enjoying my channel, click that subscribe button because I've got new videos all the time here on my channel throughout each new week. Our next project is going to be using these 3 adorable glass jars that I found in their glass home plate section. I don't know what that section is called, but I love these 3 jars. I thought they were so pretty. I love the detail on them. So I took them outside, I spray painted the glass white, and I spray painted the lids black. And you all know that I do love that farmhouse look. So you could decide not to rough up the paint, but I'm going to. You could stop at that point of spray painting or go a little further like I'm doing here. And I'm just gonna rough them up with some sandpaper real quick and give them some personality because I wanted that design to come through. They looked so like 1940s. I don't know how else to explain them. I just loved the way that this glass looked. And then because they had that perfect rectangle on the front, I thought it would be so pretty to paint on numbers, and these could be so cute in your kitchen to be able to put some treats in them, or you can use them to display utensils, whatever you want. So I'm coming in with my black paint, and you can see here, if you're a longtime follower on my channel, you will know that I love to hand paint letters, and I use the cap of my paint bottles because I feel like I have better control when I'm painting my letters and numbers. But I'm just going in and taking my time with my little fine tip small brush, and I'm just going over those pencil lines and coloring them in just like you would with a coloring book. And I have so many people all the time saying I'm not good at hand painting, but I wasn't good either in the beginning, and I just kept practicing and practicing, and the more you do it, the more muscle control you'll get over your hand. Once those numbers were all dried, I took some Mod Podge to seal them in forever because I think this just looks so cute and I don't ever want to change it. I made sure I went over all of the white surface except for where the lid would screw on. I wanted to make sure I didn't gum that area up so that it would screw on and off perfectly. And when you're done, you can display them so cute in your kitchen. I cannot wait to show you all how we are going to be making this item. So we're going to take this lid top piece, not the screwed on part, but the flat piece, and then we're going to take some chicken wire and we are going to start molding it around these garden baskets. Now I used this a couple days ago to make a bird cage. I'm going to link that video at the end of this video so you can see how I turned this item into a bird cage. But today we're going to be making a fruit basket with this. So we're going to take this chicken wire and we're going to slowly just start working our way all the way around, pushing it down, twisting the wire into place, making sure everything is nice and secure because chicken wire can scratch and can cause it to catch onto your clothes. It can do a lot of things, but when you do it right and you take your time and you just keep twisting it and making sure all those little sharp pieces are down, it makes the coolest farmhouse DIY look. So here I am, I'm just taking my pliers and working around my basket and pushing down the wire. Once I have everything all secure and twisted into place, I'm going to take that cap and with some E6000 again and some hot glue for that long-term, short-term hold, I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure on there with that glue. And then I'm going to take another long piece of wire and I'm just going to twist it around in 2 places. You're going to want to create kind of a V opening because we're going to be putting one of those glass candle stem holders that you see a lot from the Dollar Tree. Now you should be able to rub your hands all over your basket without you having any wire poking your fingers. That's how you know that you've done a good job with making sure it was nice and safe to have out for use for decor. So here I am where I'm taking that glass candlestick holder like I mentioned just a second ago, and we're going to put that right on top of that cap. You're going to want to spread them open just a little bit more than what I had there because you want to make sure that the glass is going underneath that wire and it's nice and secure and on there for long term. Then once it's all done and you can see that everything is in place, set it aside, let it dry, and then go ahead and spray paint it all black. Once it's spray painted black, it takes on a whole new life and it looks so stinking cool at this point. Now I decided to go more farmhouse with this and I wanted to wrap some rope from the Dollar Tree around the top. I thought this looked really nice and finished off the basket. Our craft we're going to be doing is super easy and has hardly any supplies to it. We're going to be using these hanging racks from the Dollar Tree and these long painter sticks. And we're going to start by taking 4 of them, and where their necks are beveled in, you can see here, I'm putting them together with some hot glue and then my staple gun. Now I know not everyone has a staple gun. I'm going to link it down below. If I can promise you, this is something definitely worth investing in, and it's not that expensive for a craft tool, and you'll see me using it here all the time on my channel because painter sticks, you can do so many cool things with them, and plus I also like to use them for like reupholstering things when I pick them up from the thrift stores. Anyway, I'll link it down below if you're interested. If not, let's just keep moving forward, and you could always just do this all with hot glue and that will work as well. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take these hanging racks from the Dollar Tree, and they bend pretty easily. So I'm going to bend out the top part where you would hang this over a cabinet door or even a house door, and we're going to make them to be straight, except for there's going to be 4 of them. The one at the very top, because we don't want to see that long line, we're going to bend it over where we know that it's the same distance on both sides. Then I'm taking my miter box and my little hacksaw, and I'm cutting off that curved neck, and this is again a tool I use here all the time on my channel. I find it so versatile. If you already have other cutting tools, you can do that too, but I just love this little toolbox. I use it all the time here in my craft room. So I'm then taking those 4 long painter sticks, 4 more of them, and I'm going to cut off the neck part, the handle or the neck, whichever you want to call it, and I'm going to place them on those sides. Now this is really cool because we are creating a support system for all of these hooks to be able to go up on, and the next step is going to be even easier. Just wait, here it comes. Now we're using zip ties. So we're going to take these hanging racks that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to just zip tie them onto our frame, and it is so secure that there are no issues with these sliding around or moving. And you'll see at the end that I actually can display dishes on them. You can hang towels on them. It is such a great storage unit just because you can put so many things on it. You can hang mugs, whatever you would like. You can even hang jewelry on this, and the total cost for me to make it was $8.50 because I'm including in the spray paint that I used. I didn't use a whole can, and you can spray paint it whatever color you want, and you'll see at the end I spray painted mine black. So what I'm doing is I'm adding 3 zip ties on each the sides and the middle to make sure it's nice and secure and it doesn't move, and then I'm doing it up towards the top because you can see here that I didn't bend down the sides on these hanging racks. You can see that they're straight up. And once you spray paint it, everything all just looks so polished and finished when you're done. So here I am, I'm adding on my last 2 hanging hooks, and I'm making sure that everything is nice and secure and on there really tight. And when it's done, you just take a couple screws and hang this up somewhere in your home. These are the supplies we're going to be using for our next DIY. They're all from the Dollar Tree. I'm always amazed how when you take a bunch of random things and bring them together, it can make some really cool stuff. Now, everything came from the Dollar Tree except for the long painter sticks. You can pick those up at any home improvement store. I picked mine up from Home Depot, and they were $1. I think they might have been $1.25, and there's 3 in a pack, and they're really long. So what we're going to do is we're going to take everything off that's 3D dimensional on these signs, and we are going to just get down to the main baseboard. Now, I know these were super popular around Easter time, and they sell it really quick. So if you have other holidays that are past signs that are this shape, you are in good shape. You can totally use them. So go ahead and cut everything off, and then you can see here that I've got a piece of foam core board, and that's because we're going to use it as a base to glue everything down. And I cut it down to size to where there is a nice lip around the boards, and I'm going to have these painter sticks, and you can see here that I'm marking it because I want to miter the corners with my miter box. I'm going to link that box down below and my little handsaw. I get asked about it all the time, and I have lots of videos here on my channel where I show more in depth on how I use it. It is a tool I recommend using all the time in your craft room because look at how cool it is to be able to take that little saw, cut it without having to do something super scary and intimidating with big electric saws, and you still get that fun, really cool framed look. So here I am, I'm just making sure that I glue down all of my painter sticks first, and then I'm going to glue down those middle long signs that we are using. And I'm doing that because if you try to glue down the signs first, you might have a little bit of overhang or things just don't go on right. So it's better to do the frame first and then do the signs. Add lots of hot glue to make sure everything is nice and sealed and in place. Now you're going to take some spackles, some of this putty that you would use to fill in nail holes whenever you're taking down pictures, when you're moving, or just moving around pictures in general in your home, artwork. I'm going to take that and fill in all of those cracks and seams just so that it makes it look really finished and polished when we start to paint it. So once you've got everything on there and it's dried, you can go ahead and take some sandpaper and just rough off any of the stuff that is popping up or too texture that you don't want it to be there, and tap it off to dust. Now we're going to take some white paint. You can see here that I'm using house paint. So now you've seen here that I stained the wood with some water and paint, got it to the color that I liked, and now I'm hand sketching on my letters. I'm using my ruler to make sure everything is nice and level and spaced apart the way I want it to be. And now I'm going to go in with my black paint and a fine tip brush and just take your time. I really love hand painting letters. I talk about that a lot here on my channel too. You all, if you are returning, you know that I love hand painting letters. I just think that they're so fun. I do have a Cricut, and I do love my Cricut, and I will eventually show you all some DIYs soon with that Cricut. So those that do have them can use those ideas, but I always want to encourage everybody to practice their hand painting and their lettering because it really is super therapeutic and just fun to practice handwriting. So once you've got everything painted on and you've taken your time to cover all of your pencil sketches that you've done and you let that dry, you're ready to move on to putting on your little baskets. Now again, these baskets are from the Dollar Tree. They have them over in all their bin sections. And I'm just going to do some pencil markings where I know I need to drill some holes so that I can wire on these baskets so that they don't fall off and they're nice and secure on our board. I want to be able to actually put fruit and things that kind of are heavier in weight. So we really want to make sure we're putting this on so that it's actually usable and not just decor. Now we're going to take our wire and we're going to slip it through the back, and we're going to be using 2 wires for each basket. And then once you've got those wires on, you're going to make sure that you thread that right on to your basket, and you're going to twist, 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 and make sure you've got it on there nice and snug. And then because you don't want anything to be poking, you're going to go ahead and take your pliers and you're going to twist and coil down all of your wires that are popping out. And then to make sure that it's really, really, really safe and secure, I like to tap it down really well and then add hot glue. Now this I thought was really fun. They have these in their garden section right now. These darling little tags or wood tags. I'm adding some hot glue and then coming around on the back side, and to make sure it doesn't fall off, I'm gluing the back side too so it's all meshed around that wire basket. And to complete the look, take some sandpaper and sand it down. I hope you enjoyed this video today and you feel inspired to get your kitchen organized with some Dollar Tree DIYs. Leave a comment down below to let me know which one you like the most, which one you think you'll try, and until the next episode, bye friends!